Testing 1, 2, and we are live. How's everybody doing today? Thanks for dropping by. As always, I appreciate your time. This is the weekly stand-up where we talk Atlas Earth, what you've been doing this week, what have you accomplished, what are you focusing on, possibly news about Atlas Earth, although the amount of news coming out of the Atlas Earth team has really went down over the last several weeks. So I put out news updates whenever I can, but most of my coverage lately has been around just things I'm doing and strategies that my strategy has really changed as I've went up in the amount of parcels, so we can talk about that a little bit. You can see here on my phone that I crossed 300. I just crossed $330 thanks to that super rent boost this last week. So lots of things going on, and I'm in basic savings mode right now for next month because I'm at the top of the 4 times multiplier and getting ready to shoot into that 3 times next month. So I want to have a we talked about this last week, but I wanted to kind of be able to get to that break-even point. But also, if you're relatively new to the game, as you go up in tiers, the tiers get bigger, so it becomes increasingly harder to save up enough. So that's what I'm looking at. We can discuss what I did this week. I've been putting I did a lot more surveys this week, and I know surveys is kind of a hot topic with people, but since whenever I first started about this time last year, I'm about 11 months in now. I think just from my personal view, surveys are a lot better than what they used to be. So I kind of went heavy this week on surveys, and I'm going to put a little bit more emphasis on those because the games I'm playing, I also have been playing like 3 different games, and they're getting to the mid to latter part of the awards structure, and it's getting harder and harder. So, and I'm basically playing the games, and I'm sprinkling in some surveys to keep the Atlas bucks flowing in other words. So, because I got to try and hit that at least 10,000 Atlas bucks for next month to be able to hit 100 parcels. That's what I'm crossing my fingers. I'm not even very far there. I think I'm at like 3,300 Atlas bucks right now. So I'm in savings mode. So what's everybody else doing? I see Happy Campers here. Welcome. Jesse's here. Thanks for stopping by. Moha is here. Welcome. Robert Mills is here. I hope everyone is having a good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in this world. Hey, it's Sherry. Good afternoon. Welcome. Cerezy's here, a member of the channel. Thanks for dropping by, Cerezy. Spending a little bit of time with us. Brandtastic is here. Welcome. Leandro's here. Leandro was on the stream yesterday. Thanks for dropping by. Leandro was a big winner yesterday for, I cover on Saturday. I cover a different game, but he won a really nice card yesterday. Happy Camper says, same here. Got my first badge. Nice. Brandon says, or asks rather, how many parcels do you think it will take to stretch out parcels from one state to another, like Mount Heathy, Ohio, to Dillsboro, Indiana, for example? I don't know, but I do know that they have the math out there telling you what one square, what the length or length and depth of one square is. So you could probably take that. I don't know it right off the top of my head and just like multiply it out on the highway from one area to another. Oh, also one thing I will tell you about is that on my side, the one main area, well, I'm mayor in 3 areas here, but the first one where I live, basically, I took over mayorship like last November, and the person I took it over with was just like, they just weren't playing. There was, they did put a little bit of fight up, and they took it back from me once, but then I took it back from them another time and then put a good cushion in there of parcels. And then I haven't seen them buy any parcels for the last, since November. And then all of a sudden I was on the Atlas Earth map and I was going around because I'm looking at this 3rd place where I'm mayor because I need to go put more parcels down over there to get a bigger cushion, right? And then I'm like, hey, that person's buying parcels again. And not only did they buy parcels, they bought a nice chunk of parcels. So going into next month, not only do I have to think about putting more parcels in my third area of mayorship, I also have to put some more parcels down here to, keep that cushion or distance away from this person that is slowly creeping up on me. So I just thought of that, thought I'd get it out there. Need to get a drink of coffee here. Coffee, the original energy drink. Okay, let's jump back into chat. Good question, Brandon. I'm sure it can be figured out. I can't do that off the top of my head, though. But I do know that there is a specific length and depth of what one parcel is, and then you could just take that and multiply it out by how many ever miles, I'm sure it's a lot, though. Brandon, always with the interesting questions. Hey, DeHaas is in the house. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by, DeHaas. I've been chatting with you over the week, mainly about the Splinterlands, but welcome. Jesse Norris says, I have made it to 74 parcels, and I believe the break even in Australia is 76. Where is the return to profitability? Please, Bronze. Well, let's take a look at the chart. Let's scroll down. Here we go. We got Australia here. You say you are at 74. Okay, so you're mid-tier. Okay, now you can go on the Atlas Earth calculator, and I have the link in all my show notes, so if you don't have it, but you can just do a Google search, Atlas Earth calculator. Make sure that all the settings, especially at the top, that your country is set correctly, and you would be like international, I forget what he has it termed, and put in all your details. Then look towards the bottom. You can see your exact break-even point. But my guess is it's going to be around 90 to 92 somewhere. And it's going to be different for everyone because everyone has a different allocation of parcels. So I would say go on the Atlas Earth calculator, put all your numbers in and make sure everything's set correctly. And he now has a section down towards the bottom. Scroll down and you can see your exact break-even point. Okay. But welcome from down under. Let's see here. Oh, also I wanted to point out, I think that Atlas Earth is live in Italy now. We haven't had an official announcement because, like I said, official announcements for the last few weeks have really not been happening really. But I do have word that I think that it's live in Italy. If you're Italian, or if you live in Italy, or if you are going through or to Italy on holiday, let me know in the show comments, or let me know in chat if you happen to be there now. Let me know what the status is. Also, if you're in the Netherlands, let me know if you had mini games this past week. It does take a little bit of time for when countries go live for the player base to build up so that there's enough people basically to have mini games. So those are two things I'm a little bit unsure about. But if you're Italian, welcome to the game. Let's see here. DeHaas says, just hit the last level for Monopoly Go. Pays out just over 1,700 AB. Nice. That was one of those games where I believe that I had played Monopoly Go before I started playing Atlas Earth. And then I started playing, and then I downloaded it, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to get a payout for it. But I have been working, I mentioned it last week, I have been working on that zombie mining game and a couple other the bigger games, but they just have a lot of these stretch goals, right? Where it takes a long time to get to them. And one of the games is a PvP game, so it's really dependent upon how much you win. So I ended up, I'm at a level where I'm finding it hard to win. I probably get one win for every 2 losses, and then it just takes a long time to chug through that level. Okay, let's see what else is going on in chat. Lewis says, I play in Spain and it's cheaper to buy Atlas Bucks in the app. Thought it was strange, and good afternoon, everyone. That is weird because generally speaking, the Atlas Bucks should be cheaper on the website, Lewis. I would definitely... Okay, let me restate that. They're not cheaper. you get more for the money you spend, because generally the packages are the same price. You just get more for what you buy in on the website. And the reason why that is because the two app stores take their cut. And I believe it's 10%. Could be a little bit different, but the iOS and the Google App Store both have a fee that they have to pay, that the company has to pay for each purchase that goes through them, right? And so therefore they can offer you more Atlas bucks for the money. But that's interesting. I would double check and let me know if that's not the case, because if it wasn't the case in Spain, then, obviously there's a lot of different rules having to do with banking, money, credit cards, especially in Europe. Everybody's different country has slightly different rules. Some, especially in Europe, is very much more stringent, and that has a lot to do with why the AMP program hasn't come out to a lot more countries. And I'm not going to dig into details, but I would find it very strange if you couldn't get more Atlas bucks for your money on the website. Let me know. Oh, Jesse says it's 1:30 a.m. there. Well, I guess good morning. I really appreciate everybody dropping by, especially if it's in the middle of the night. Hopefully, I'm giving you some value for your time. Unless you work the third shift and you're up anyway. But anyway, thanks for dropping by. Um, Kathy's here. Kathy says, "Hi, Bronze. I finished my challenge ladder during the SRB. I'm now in prep mode for next month." Yeah, I finished mine like the first week, and it's been that way pretty much. I'm just, since like January, when the big change was to the challenge ladder, I find that uh, I like the design of the challenge ladder challenges, because those people who use the heavily weighted challenges usually finish the ladder within the first week, and those who maybe do fewer of the heavily weighted challenges like the AMP or buying stuff, then it takes you a little bit longer, but you're still able to do it, and you still got like 2 weeks left, so then you've got time to, save up for next month and figure out what your goals are. Like I said, let's flip this up a little bit here. So I'm in the US, as you guys know. I am at 1100. So this is at the top of the 4x multiplier. The next tier for me is 1500. But due to my parcel allotment and everything, my break-even point is going to be like about 1230 to 1250. So if I can buy 100 parcels next month, that's really what I've been shooting for, like 100 parcels a month. That keeps me chugging along, and it gets me pretty close to break even in the 3x multiplier. And as we've talked about before, the real goal for any of us is hitting that 2x multiplier, because depending upon wherever you live in the world, that's where everything equals out. Okay, so we've talked about this, but I thought I'd bring it up again. Whenever you hit that 2x multiplier, everything evens out. Yes, when you're outside the United States, you get less as far as Atlas bucks per ad watch and stuff like that, but you also end up having to buy like 1/3 the 1/2 to 1/3 the amount of parcels that we do in the States. So and I'm not a big math head. We just have to buy a lot more parcels, but we get more Atlas bucks from the ads, right? So I think maybe it's a toss up, but my main point is the whole goal is getting to that 2x multiplier, and then we're all even, So plus, you're making a lot more money off especially off the SRB. And I just transferred 20 bucks out of my pot in game of rent, and I'm at like $210 profit now, pure profit. If you've been watching, you know that I put my money into PayPal savings, and then I remove 10 bucks on a monthly basis whenever my charge for the challenge ladder comes out, because I do subscribe to that. I find that a great value. If you haven't watched my videos on the topic, it's the best value I find. If you're going to subscribe to something, I find that is the best return on Atlas bucks for your dollar, let alone the fact that if you complete it, you also get the the legendary parcel upgrade, which I've been using too. I was kind of saving them, like it's not doing me any good, right? So now whenever I take over an area and I go and start putting parcels down to attempt to take over mayor in that area, I put down a couple LPUs just to use them up and get some more legendaries going on my account. So okay, let's jump back into chat. Skip says hi. Thanks for stopping by, Skip. DeHaas says the last arcade payout will get me through my first tier jump. Nice. 220, here I come. Retro Views is here. Thanks for stopping by, as always. Neo Radio 713 says, good morning, everyone. Glad to see everyone here. Yeah, so am I. I always look forward to my live streams on the weekend. This is basically when I do them, because this is when I got a regular, I want to say 9 to 5, but it's more 8:30 to 5 job. And I do regular videos in the week because it's around, I fit them around my dinner time, but I just don't have time to do a live stream during the week. So that's why I look forward to the weekend to on Saturday I do the Splinterlands video or live stream, and then on Sunday I do Atlas Earth. So I originally tried to do them both at the same time, but I found that the discussions were too dissimilar and they just didn't jive well together. So that's why I broke them up to two separate live streams. Let's see here. Hey, it's Sherry says, I think each parcel is 900 square foot. You could be right. I'll have to look into that. If anybody knows for sure, let me know. But you could, the idea basically is take that and divide it out by how many ever miles you're going, and then you got it. Brandon says, how many Atlas bucks can I collect by watching ads a month straight, nonstop? That is a good question. Well, let's just say here, let's this is a fun little exercise, I guess. So you've got 20, 40, 60, you've got 3 ads an hour times 24. So possible of 72 times 2. So a possible, if you hit every single thing exactly per day, that's 144 per day, which I don't think is possible because obviously you're asleep or, whatever. But just for the sake of argument and for the sake of Brandon's exercise here, and if you had a 30-day month, then you could do possibly 4,320. But that's the absolute max here in the States. And if you outside the States, it would be 2160. But that's impossible. That means you wouldn't sleep ever. So let's go back and see what everybody else is saying. Palmer Husky is here. Welcome, Palmer. Those tiers do get harder to hit. Yeah, exactly. Why not hit break even instead? Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then use the buffer between break even and the top of the tier so you can do the reward ladder without worry about breaking. Yeah, that's basically what I've been doing, right? The last couple, I've been shooting for 100. This last tier, I sat in the middle there for, I don't know, a week and a half, where I was technically not making as much rent as what I was before I broke tier. But this month I had lined it up just like you were saying, so that I had stopped at 1,000, leaving that 100 buffer, so I could go ahead and complete this month's and allow me to go ahead and sit at the top of the 4X tier. And that's what I've done. So next month it's going to be kind of the same thing, depending upon I'll be able to complete the buy parcels. And this month I didn't even have to do the buy parcels 4th level because I had completed the challenge ladder. I still went over and bought some parcels because I wanted to come to the top of the 1100. Yeah, I had completed with doing some other challenges. But yeah, it becomes a exercise of figuring out where to sit between the tiers and try to not lose as much rent as possible, and still be able to complete the challenges. Lady Sharon says, good morning. I posted this in Discord, but repeating here, I unexpectedly got mayor revenue from that little area I took the weeks ago. Nice. That's always a pleasant surprise when you get mayor revenue, right? I get it. I don't know. I guess it's steady, but I don't get what I would say a lot out of it. A lot of people like to talk about, oh, well, how much should I spend to take over mayor? I just want to let you know, first of all, I don't really spend my personal money. Everything I put towards this game has been earned rent, right? And I don't outright buy Atlas bucks. I just do the challenge ladder and do a few rent conversions to be able to complete the challenge ladder. But at that point, I used to think that becoming a mayor meant a lot, and I wouldn't come out of pocket with a lot of money just to become mayor. Now, if it quickly becomes kind of quote unquote the end game type thing, you get to a certain level and then you want to start taking over mayorships, right? And then if you're big enough, governorships, and if you're really big, president or whatever, prime minister of wherever you are, but and as the area gets bigger, I assume you're going to get more badges, right? Because the area is bigger. But the area I took over, I probably, and it's a high traffic area in a suburban area that's has a lot of population density right outside a big city, right? And I still only get maybe 1 or 2 badges a week, maybe, Still, I mean, that's better than none, right? But it's not worth throwing hundreds of dollars into the game to get that, right? So I like to be clear about that. But that's a nice surprise, Sharon. Christopher Marino's here. Good morning to you, Chris. Thanks for dropping by. Coley Poley says, I live in a massive city that would take 1,500 plus parcels to take. Should I save Atlas bucks and try to take a nearby town that only takes 120? Yes, you should. I say go ahead and look at other areas around you. Like I said, it has to do with population density and drive-through traffic, because if you've got a lot of traffic come through, then you have a higher possibility of people actually playing the game and grabbing a badge, right? Whereas really small towns out in the country might be really easy to take over. You might not be able to get much out of them. Yeah, the big cities are tough to take over because high density, high population density. Also, a lot of high city. I live over here on the East Coast. A lot of high density population cities are owned by the big dogs, right? The big dogs on the leaderboard. If you take them over, it's likely that they'll come back and take them back from you. So I would use that, like where I live now. And like I said, I only get 20 to 40 a week, maybe. And it's a pleasant surprise when it pops through, but like I'm at 600, right? And a lot of the areas directly around me take about 600 to 700 to take over. So I'm going to have to start adding to that. So it's quickly going to be, whatever I add to it next month, 650 or whatever, just to keep it. But that's the evolution of the game, right? So slowly, the longer this game stays around, the more land that's going to be bought up and the more competition we're going to have. That's why, like I said, if you take over as mayor, don't go there and take over as mayor and have like 1 parcel extra. Go with the plan to have like 20 extra parcels or something, where you have a cushion to where the next best person has to actually work through that cushion, and you can keep an eye on it, so you know what they're doing if they're progressing on you. So if you want to keep it, then you have to go back and add more parcels. But to directly answer your question, instead of taking over a major city, I would just get some smaller suburban areas around you that you might go to the mall. Look how old am I? Talking about going to the mall. That you might go shopping. You might go to work, something like that. So. It's all strategy. A lot of people will say, well, Atlas Earth isn't a game. I'm like, the main thing I see that has made Atlas Earth gamified in my mind. First of all, I think it's an earning platform now because there's several different ways you can earn. But the strategy behind how you take mayorships over and how you progress in the game, that's the strategy. It's more of a strategy game, right, to me. Okay, let's see what everybody else is saying. Brandon says, yeah, no. You know, I do believe you can use the PayPal debit card to pay for your challenge ladder. Yeah, we've talked about that in the past. I don't know if anybody's confirmed that. I can't tell you for the truth. But I've got my main charge card hooked up to it, and it's easy enough because my main charge card is from my bank, and it just charges every month, and then I just dump $10 out into my bank account. So the main reason there is I'm using uh, the PayPal savings account, which is currently earning 4% last I checked, interest, as kind of a level of saying, this is the profit I've made in game, right? So I want to go ahead and remove, anytime I hit like over $5, $10, when I think about it, usually after an SRB, because that's when the bulk of your money comes in during the month. Then I'll put it into the PayPal, and then at the end of the month when it's charged, just dump $10 out. So that keeps that total there in the PayPal savings kind of accurate as far as I can look at it. And somebody says, well, how much have you earned in profit? So that's removing all the money that I've spent on the challenge ladder over the months. Neo Radio says that, Brandon, that depends if the month has 28, 30, or 31. Yeah, I just did the math for 30 days, but, you'd have to do different math depending upon how many days it is. Sharon says, plugging away on the ladder, planning on buying more plots soon, maybe today, hoping a tier 3 buy unlocks tier 4. Nice. Eagle Sports Bets is here. Welcome back. Or sorry, that's Earl Sports Bets, not Eagle. I missaw that. I just ordered some new glasses. Sorry, my glasses are like 2.5 years old now. I had to go down and get my eyes tested because I'm doing this. I'm reading out of the bifocal part, and I can't see chat as well as I would like, and I'm waiting for them to call me to come pick up my glasses. So sorry about that. Anyway, Earl says, had a mayorship, then recently the person I took it from bought parcels for the first time in months and basically came back from the dead and now leads by 40 parcels. Yeah, I can feel you on that. And at that point, you just have to really figure how much you've been making off of that mayorship and if it's worth it. First of all, I want to be very clear because a lot of people, I did a video last week and it was about, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it after this because it was a little bit ranty, but it covers a lot of topics as far as what people usually bring up. And one of the things was somebody was calling the game a scam because they dumped money into the game and then it has a long payoff period, right? This is no secret. If you're going to put money into something, I would hope that you would do your homework on it, okay? My reply was, and I just try to be nice in my replies, right? But basically, just because a game like this has a long payoff period because you dump money into it, doesn't make it a scam. It means that you probably should have done a little bit more math homework and figured the math out how long it would take to pay off, a few years or whatever, and then make an investment decision. I always say play this as a game, not an investment. In fact, if you read through their terms of service, there's a whole section that says treat this as a game, not as an investment, So my main point there is if they dumped money into the game, then it's going to have a long return period. You just have to figure out, depending upon how many ABs came through on a weekly or monthly basis for that mayorship, is it worth it for you to try to take it back? If it is, go for it. Start building. But like I said, I use traditional methods and not just outright buying Atlas bucks. I like the challenge ladder, gives you a good value. A lot of people like the Explorer Club. I'm not at the point where I am going to spend $50 a month on that. It would help to advance you a lot faster, but I'm kind of playing along. I'm making I don't know, probably $32 to $34 a month right now. So a little bit over $1 a day, really, and it's coming in. And like I said, I'm more than $210 in profit overall. So I think I like the way I'm going. So yeah, that's the roundabout way of answering you. You have to consider how much it was bringing in and whether it's worth taking back. And that was to Earl. Christopher says, I am 900 Atlas bucks for my day break even point to move from the 8 times to whatever the next tier up from that is. So if you're in the US, it would go from 8 to 7. And we're talking the top of the 8 times tier is 545, and the next tier is 625. So I forget where you're playing from, Chris, but okay, let's see here. Neo Radio says, the only thing I dislike about the challenge ladder is that if a challenge isn't active, you don't get any credit. Yeah, it's just part of the way it was designed. I wish they would change that. My opinions. Well, I don't. We talked about this when the ladder first started back in November, right? And some people thought it was going to be that way, but they designed it. I guess it's my opinion is that logically speaking, they are wanting you to stick with those 10 challenges that are up presently, and they want to focus you into more of what's up. Obviously, from what I've seen, if you go in and you start doing the mini games, then you pop a mini game, complete it, you're going to get another mini game, right? If you pop or if you complete one of the highly weighted, sorry about that, a very loud motorcycle just went by. If you pop a highly weighted one like an amp or a buy parcel or a do survey, then you're probably going to get one of the heavily weighted ones. So it is more of a design decision to be able to basically give some flexibility to the challenge ladder so that you can get through it in several different ways, but also provide more of an income stream to the company by saying, well, we're going to make you have to do a few things you might not really want to do. Because let's face it, they got to make money out of it. It's a business, right? So I like the way it's designed. I think if it went that way, like you were talking about, like you didn't have to, there were just a bunch of challenges and you could do whatever you wanted instead of having 10 up at any one time. I think it would be much too easy to complete, and it would bring in far less money for the company. So whether I like it that way or not, I think that's the logical reason behind it. So. Lewis is here, also in Spain. Says there are no mini games yet. Okay, yeah. I mean, I've talked to him a few times about that, and by talk to him, heard what they talked about on Reddit and such, and it really has to come down to they have to have a minimum pool of people that are playing these games to make it even worth it. And that's not to mention that a lot of people are even complaining about the payouts on the game these days anyway, since the big change. And it goes to show you can't make everybody happy. Before the change in the mini games, everybody was there was a large pool of people complaining that they had to pay 2 Atlas bucks to play each mini game, and then they went ahead and designed a way to get around that, and you don't have to pay, you just have to watch watch the commercials to be able to pay for it, and now people are complaining that they're not getting paid out. But whenever a new country comes online, there has to be a minimum pool of players in the country that are willing to play the games before it becomes economically feasible to run the games. So, and like I said, I'm not part of the team. I'm not employed. I don't get any money from Atlas Earth. I mean, other than playing, Um, and we used to hear a lot when whatever you feel about Mod Manning or Manning Field, when he was part of the team, he was on Reddit and he was saying a lot, and he had a very definitive personality, and let me say, he called it like he saw it, right? So whether you like him or not, we heard a lot. We've got a lot of news updates. Not so much anymore. That's why I haven't really done any news updates lately. And like I said, I just talked about Italy going live, and I don't know if that's true or not, because I had just heard, so you'd think that, there should be like an official announcement when a new country goes live, right? Brandon says, I think Egypt went live, but I'm not 100% sure. I am not sure about that. Uh, if you are on, Annalise, can you verify whether Egypt is live? Um, Sherry says, I just saw someone purchase a parcel in Italy in the feed. Nice. Okay, well, there you go. But as we know, just because you can purchase a parcel doesn't mean the game's officially live, right? Because you can purchase a parcel in South Korea and become mayor and everything. It's not officially live there. So you're probably right. It is probably live, but I can't verify that because I haven't heard. But that is interesting, though. Thanks. I'm not watching the feed. Neo Radio says, LOL, complete Area 1 to receive 4 Atlas bucks, but to complete Area 1, you need to do 100 tasks. Yeah. Lewis says, yeah, I've done a few calculations on the app. It's cheaper per Atlas buck, but I thought surely the website would be cheaper, as you've said previously. Yeah, it surprises me. But like I said, every country has different financial. Let me see here. I'm going to do. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to check on the shop, and then on my web page. I pulled it off just in case there's like some kind of personal information that I don't want to flash on screen. Let's do this and log in to my account, and then go to the buy parcels, or buy bucks rather. Okay, so here we are. So this is what I'm telling you, and you can compare this. And if it's not the same, maybe it's because financial regulations in your country prevent it. That's my best guess. But you can see here that it's, if you spend $4.99 in the app, it is 100 parcels. If you buy on the website, it's 110. If you spend 14, and the packages are a little bit different. So on the app, $14.99 gets you 315, $39.99. Here you go. Here's a good comparison as well. And I just saw I need to do my ad too. So $39.99 here gets you 900 in the app, and it gets you $9.90 on the website. So I'm going to pull this off and do my ad. Let that play. I don't play the commercials on live stream because it might run into some kind of, I don't want to get demonetized or something from the company that's running the ad come through and say I shouldn't have been doing that, something like that. So that's why I pull my phone off and don't do the ads. Okay, but Lewis, that's interesting. I had not heard of that because I had always put out, because that's what I'd always seen. If you're in a different country other than the United States, please check and let me know if it's the same as Lewis is reporting from Spain. Um, Earl Sports Bet says 20 watching and only 4 likes. That math doesn't math. Well, thanks for bringing it up. Please leave a like on the live stream. Whenever you leave a like, that YouTube algorithm pushes it out further. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe because I would appreciate it. Helps me out. Helps the channel out. Jesse says, I'm working on the challenge ladder now. Just need 60 points, then I'm done. That's nice. When it gets that close, it's just like you can almost taste it. I'm almost there. Okay, I just had to fool around and do that ad. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so Mike, welcome to the channel. Mike says Shaman is the mayor of Uniontown with only 75 parcels. Do you think it's worth trying to take over mayor there? If you can get Uniontown, I don't really know. I've heard of Uniontown, but I've not. I don't know. If you could get mayor for 100 parcels, I'd go for it. But be prepared to add some more. I always say if you're going to take over an area as mayor, don't just take it over by a few. Have enough to go in there and take it over by 25, so you can keep it. But with that said, Shaman's a big dog. If he wants it, he's going to take it back from you. So I would take it back, and then I would take it over. And then if he comes back, then I probably wouldn't fight him for it. But that's just me. But it's all. I guess I want to impress that it's not worth coming out. To me, it's not worth coming out of your pocket and actually spending a bunch of money just to take over mayor, because it does help out. But like I said, I've got like 600 in this area, and I get like 20, maybe 20 Atlas bucks, maybe 40 once in a while per week. So you can judge whether that's worth it to you or not. But with that said, taking over an area for 100 Atlas buck or 100 parcels is not that bad. It's a really nice low level because, like I said, all areas around here are 5, 6, 700, that kind of thing. And if you go into the city, then it's obviously 2,500 or something like that. So, like we were talking about earlier. Retro Review says, I just finished preparing brunch when it was time for the stream. Bacon scrap. What are you trying to do? Make me hungry, man? I haven't even had breakfast yet. I usually wait until after the stream and just eat some lunch. Trying to lose a little bit of weight, just drinking my coffee. So he had bacon, scrambled eggs, Texas toast with a pineapple punch energy drink, ready to start the day. Let's go! Sounds good. Sounds delicious. Neo Radio says, I still need like 200 on the ladder. Most of mine are arcade goals, mini games, or boost amount. I did see that yesterday they were running an arcade event. Is that arcade event still going on? That's the best time to download a game and start a game. Nope. The mini game or the game boost was a pop-up for yesterday, and it was only one day old. I like the fact that they are running these surprise events. It's a nice little thing, like a few days ago, they were, I guess on Wednesday, they started like every Wednesday for surveys, I believe. So it's a nice day to press through a few surveys. I don't think anybody really likes surveys, but sometimes they can pay off pretty good, So I've earned probably 250 Atlas bucks this week with surveys. I had a couple surveys that hit for like 45 or 50 each. So, but they take like 15, 20 minutes each. So, hey, we have a new member, Mike Flavin. Thanks. Welcome to the channel. If you all didn't know, I do have memberships on the channel. Whenever you're watching a video, there's a join button below, and you can join in 2 different methods, either Hatchling or Dragonflight. And if you go Dragonflight, you get to see my videos up 12 hours earlier. And Hatchling, you also get to use the different types of emojis and everything. And it's basically about keeping this channel going and supporting the channel. So thanks, Mike. Appreciate that for joining. Let's see here. Lost my position in chat. Lewis says, in Spain, the quantities of Atlas bucks you can buy in the app and on the website are different than the US, I think, but it's cheaper per Atlas buck on the app. That's very interesting. Waiting to hear somebody else from a different country chime in on this. Kevin is here. Thanks for dropping by, Kevin. Lockheed here. Sitting happy at the end of the 5X tier. I have about 2,400 Atlas bucks, wondering if I should just buy parcels to continue owning my whole HOA area. First of all, sorry that you have an HOA to deal with, even if the break even is around 10K Atlas bucks. That's a tough decision. That is a really tough decision. Wrong page. Okay, let's go to this page. So if you're here in the States, and let's see, you are at the end of the 5X tier, which would put you at 875. I have about 2,400 Atlas bucks. Wondering if I should just buy parcels to continue owning my whole HOA. Or, you know, it depends. Are you mayor in the area? I would also, I mean, maybe a sub goal for you would be owning your whole HOA. So it may increase your level there in your area enough to take over mayorship at one point. But I would not exceed, personally, I've been trying to sit at the top of a tier until I have the next month rolls around, so you can go ahead and use the buy parcels in your complete, buy parcel challenges to complete the ladder, first of all, and work that in, and hopefully be able to make it to the break-even point, whatever your break-even point is. Once again, I would say use the Atlas Earth calculator, because he created a break-even point calculator in there. So just put in all your numbers at the top and then scroll down, and you can see what your break-even is. And it just really depends upon if you want to, if one of your sub goals is to take over your HOA, so that anybody in your area starts playing, you have all their parcels, you own their house. And then you might have the option of turning around and being able to put it up for sale and making a profit. So Jesse says, this is my first month subscribed to the challenge ladder. Well, I think it's a very good value. Like I said before, I've done a few videos on it showing the numbers. Kevin says, currently own and mayor of Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, Nevada. Nice. Next goal is to become mayor of Mount Charleston. Only 100 Atlas bucks to become new mayor. Well, like I said, put yourself a little bit of a cushion in there. I don't like sitting right on the edge, because it makes it easier for them to come back. I like putting a cushion in there, so anybody who's going to take it from you has to really think about, is it worth it? Neo Radio says, by the way, Bronze, just to let you know, I really dislike social media, but you have inspired me. When I do my first tier jump, I'm going to try recording to share with everyone. Nice. I do that because a lot of people on the channel seem to like watching these when you flip over the parcels. You can record it on your phone, and then I just edit it together, and I also speed it up by about 2 times, because I think the animation's a little bit slow personally. But I know that people want to see it, they just don't want to spend as much time watching the video. But welcome. Yeah, I'm not a big, I like YouTube. Obviously, I'm a YouTuber. But other social media, I use just sparingly. Ashley Stanfield's here. Welcome, Ashley. She's also a member of the channel. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate your time. The comment I posted was answering a question, and the comment disappeared. That's weird. Interesting. I didn't see anything from you, Ashley. I don't know why that would happen. I have moderation on, but very lightly. Okay. But thanks for dropping by, Ashley. Appreciate it. Lewis Boshoff says, I'm on 15% boost, but badges is a struggle. Then I'm OJ. I'm okay. The 7X tier, 210 parcels in South Africa. Okay, so you're right there. You're right at about your break even point, probably. Um, and will it be worth pushing to the 2x and then badge as I get them? You know what? You know what I would do is I would check out Tasty Wallet's guide, and I have that link in all my videos notes, because and he'll have a separate section there advising what to do with South Africa. Frankly, when I started playing, I just started playing using his guide, and I don't see any reason not to. I've kind of deviated from that because of the challenge ladder coming around, and also I'm kind of like in the middle part between 15 and 20% on the badge boost, right? And I'm not really pressing for the badges. They do give you a really good value, but like you said, you increasingly have to travel further and further to get a badge. So, as far as I think everybody's goal should to incrementally and with a good plan work their way up from one up to the 2x, or from whatever your top boost is. In this case, in South Africa, it would be 20 times up to 2x, because really that's what the game is about. The game is about acquiring land, and if you didn't know, when you get up here in this range, the 2x, everybody's even across the world, right? So, and when you hit that 2x, there's no more worrying about break even points. There's no more worrying about tier jumps and stuff like that. You've hit that, and yeah, it can take a while to get there, but once you've hit that, it's all, you can buy a parcel and just throw it down wherever you want, right? Obviously, the challenge still comes into play as far as structuring where you want your mayorships to be and such, because that's still strategy, right? But you don't so much have to worry about the other stuff. Kevin says 100 parcels, not AB. Yeah. Brandon says, off-topic question: how do you keep your beard from itching? I need to shave, but been a little lately yesterday. Well, if you have hair on your face, it itches once in a while, but I just wash it. I use beard oil once in a while. I have a nice smelling beard oil my daughter got me for Christmas. And when I feel like putting it in, it's a little bit extra, but it conditions it. It conditions the skin underneath too. There's a bunch of companies out there. I'm sure you've even seen stuff on Atlas Earth advertising beard stuff. So I just wash it and put oil in it once in a while. I like the smell of it, but I can't wear cologne and the beard oil at the same time because they both kind of interact, and if they don't work together, then it's going to smell weird. And that is off topic. That's a beard topic. Alfie's here. Welcome. Says hi. Since last week, I've bought 3 badges. Nice. That's nice. Badges, like I said, are harder and harder to come by as you go. That's why I always advise, if you're going on a vacation or going on out of town, to save up your Atlas bucks and buy badges when you're out of town, because you might not necessarily need them right now, but they will help you out in the long run, definitely. Brandon says, how much do you know about Just Play, and why do you think Apple removed it from the App Store? I cannot answer that because I don't know about Just Play. Farrell Silver might be a better person to ask on that, because he covers a variety of platforms. I almost say games. A lot of these are just money-making platforms, right? And I can't theorize on why it was removed from the App Store. Know much about it. Jorge Gallardo says, morning everyone. I buy BTC with my winnings. Nice. I'm looking forward to the availability when we get there of being able to cash out in crypto. And BTC has been going up lately. Kevin says, here's another question I always wondered. For the governors and people sitting with things like 4,000 parcels and up, do you think they use their own money to buy parcels, even if they started from? It's hard to say. There's a lot of people been playing this game for I think it's almost 4 years old at this point. And there's a lot of people that dump money into it too. But those higher end people, I think generally what I found is most of them also subscribe to the Explorer Club, right? So it's $50 a month, but you get a nice amount of Atlas bucks for your money. You know, if you watch my video on the topic, you know that I did the math breakdown. I found that the challenge ladder gets your greatest Atlas bucks for money, or Atlas bucks for the money spent, right? Better way to put that. And Explorer Club is up there too, but both of those are above just outright buying parcels, right? Or Atlas bucks to buy parcels. So I think the answer is really with people with a lot of parcels, it's a mixture, right? But you also have the math that starts. I guess the best way to say it is like a snowball rolling downhill in the winter, right? It gathers speed and it accumulates. As you go up in level of number of parcels, you take over more mayorships, you get more of an influx of Atlas bucks from those mayorships on a weekly or monthly basis. That influx helps you accumulate more Atlas bucks and be able to buy more land. So it's multiplicative, you know. So like I said, it ends up being a strategy wise, take over more mayorships as you go up, and you get more Atlas bucks coming in so that you can buy more parcels. It's just like an extrapolation, right? So I think the answer to your question is that they probably are Explorer Club members, and most of them at the higher end are a member of both of the clubs, and they do, or Explorer Club and Challenge Ladder, and they probably have bought some of it in the past as well. And the rest is coming in from mayorships, governorships, presidentships, whatever, prime ministerships, whatever you want to call it. You know, so I think it's a combination. So I've done a few videos where I kind of theorize. Obviously, you can't tell exactly unless you ask the person. And at the high end, where they have huge amounts of parcels, they're probably not going to give you any direct math. Because for them, it's an investment. They've clearly put some money into it, and they're hoping to see their money back before the game actually shuts off, you know. So I'm not saying it is shutting off. I'm not saying it's in that situation. I'm saying that, you know, games only last for so long, right? So let's just hope that it's in a situation. All indicators point that the game is in a good situation. You know, it's made a lot of progress over the last year. It's going live in a bunch of different countries, like one country a month this year. Unfortunately, we don't hear about it anymore when it goes live in a different country. So we just have to kind of keep your eye on the feed and see new parcels start being bought, you know. So Kevin says the beginning free to play would likely be at a cap of 2,000 parcels without using your. I see this discussed a lot, but and the definition of what's free to play is really kind of wide open right there. You know, some people, I couldn't imagine getting to where I am. I couldn't imagine getting to even half. You know, I'm at 1,100. I couldn't even imagine getting to half of that in the last year without being, you know, taking advantage of the AMP program, without taking advantage of subscribing to the challenge ladder and things like that, which are things that free to play players would not do, you know. So couldn't imagine getting there, you know, even half of what I have now. But, you know, it is a game perfectly well that you can play free to play if you want and slowly accumulate. DeHaas says, my tier jump is going to make me mayor by about 36 parcels. Nice. In a spot that I've slowly been seeding. That's always nice. Cerezi says, I'm going to be going on a short road trip with my folks at the end of the month. I mapped out our trip and I expect to pick up 15 new badges if all works out. Nice. Martin Ray's in the house. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. I know I'm not hitting everybody's comment because we're drawing down to the or coming up to the top of the hour, and I just wanted to kind of scroll through here. I just wanted to take a minute. Ashley says, "Hey, it's Sherry. I miss Manning too." Yeah, I mean he was a very direct person, and some people didn't like him for that. But Oh my, I appreciate at my point in life, I can appreciate a person that doesn't mince words and just gets straight to the point. And I appreciate how much he was in the public and letting us know things. He was putting up messages, official news announcements on Reddit. He was saying he was chatting in Discord. So let's hope that we get back to that place because I really think it's bad for the marketing of the company to get to a position where you're not hearing much about the game and what's going on in the game. Obviously, personally, as a person that does it on YouTube, I love to see these news messages. It gives me something to tell you about in a video, right? If you don't, a lot of people don't keep our eyes on the Reddit and everything on a daily basis. So that's why I put the videos out and they seem to be pretty popular. Without that, I can't do those type of videos. So, but as a player, I've been in on, a lot of different games over the last several years. I've had my YouTube channel. And one of the things I don't like to see in a game is when the communication from the company stops. In a lot of instances, I see a lot of games that have been turned off, or a lot of games, especially on the Web3 side, some games, not a lot, but some games where they ended up being rug pulls. And I'm not saying that's happening here. I'm just saying one of the things that I see across all these games is the fact that the communication from the company stops, and you stop hearing the updates, you stop hearing what's going on in the game, what we can look forward to and everything. I don't want that. I don't want to see that happen. I hope that gets remedied pretty quickly. Either way, this has been Bronze Dragon. I just want to say thanks for stopping by and talking Atlas Earth with me this week. Join me next week on Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel. I hope everyone has a great week and everyone on your side is happy and healthy. And hey, I'll see you in Atlas Earth.